Extreme cold weather advisory in effect this morning.
You're a contractor. You have a contract.
All right, guys, come on. Let's do this.
A little snow and ice isn't stopping you. Not today, not any day. Shouldn't your flashing tape be working through it all too? Only Frog Tape Pro-Grade Flashing Tape's high-performance acrylic adhesive sticks, re-sticks, and stays stuck, even on the roughest surfaces in rain, snow, heat, and more. So you stay in control when it matters most. Show weather who's boss with Frog Tape Pro-Grade Flashing Tape.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay in conjunction with iHeartRadio and Cloud 10 Media.
This is the Patreon mix.
Yeah, the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but Detective Overton made you should have turned to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that are of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I did not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My description of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're gonna get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I am not Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. This is Toby Tomplay. I'm the producer of this show. And you guys, this is sort of a unique episode. This was a way to sort of turn lemons into lemonade, if you will. So Woody is not feeling great. He's under the weather right now. And what we decided to do was to take a Patreon/Convict episode, which are bonus episodes that only the Patreon and Convict members have access to. And there is a vault with several of these bonus episodes inside of it. As y'all know, Woody is raw and unscripted, and the Patreon Convict bonus episodes have a tendency to be a little more raw and a little more off the wall, I guess you could say, as the normal episodes, and you guys get to hear them unedited, just like he says it. And of course, you get your regular episodes at least one day early. Sometimes you get them several days early. And from time to time, like maybe once every year or so, we will release one to the public and replace it with another one. So this, what you're about to hear, is the November Patreon Convict bonus episode. And Patreon and Convict members, guess what? You're getting a brand new, unheard bonus episode that will be available probably by the time you hear this. This episode that you are hearing right now dropped at midnight, and I would wager that you will have your new episode by probably lunch. And that's it. You guys enjoy the episode. If you're considering being a Patreon or Convict member, it's absolutely what makes Real Life, Real Crime sustainable and possible. These bonus episodes are just one of many of the perks. So thank you guys so much for your support. And without further ado, this is a Patreon and Convict bonus episode.
This is the Patreon mix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this bonus Patreon and Convict episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. It's been a while, y'all, since I've done one of these, and I was thinking about a story, well, some stories actually, that happened when I was working the street. The Other night, we went to a block party up in Watson, and I got to see some of my cop buddies that I hadn't seen in years and years and years, like Billy Amy. And what a mountain of a man that dude is. Make him our new real life, real crime security chief. I mean, he must be like 6'8". I forgot how big he was. He's still a cop with Baton Rouge City Police Department, but we used to be on the SRT team together. And of course, we worked the street together, et cetera, and known him for over 21 years. And we got to laughing and talking about some different things. But I'll tell you, one night, what happened. I was on uniform patrol, and for some reason, I was on the west side of the parish, which I've told y'all in the past. The parish is separated geographically east and west for law enforcement purposes. And it was probably like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, the bad guy hours, if you will. There's nobody on the road at that time of the night except for cops and bad guys, period. And, you know, bad guys or girls being drunks or you know, just drug dealers or whatever. So we got a call, a 107P, that's y'all as cop terms for suspicious person, right? At this new development of neighborhood that was going up, and nobody was living in there yet. But the roads were blacktop. They had the lots, and they were building some homes. And so, generally, on these type of situations, that's where people go and steal the materials that the contractors have on job sites. And the call came out as a white male in a truck that was seen going in and out of one of the houses. And I wasn't the closest unit, but I really wasn't busy, and I figured it was probably going to end up in a foot pursuit or something, right? And the thieves are going to run, or a vehicle pursuit. But I responded, and I showed up to back up 2 other deputies, and their blue and whites were there, and they had this truck that they actually caught them coming out of the neighborhood, and they had the driver out. They had the spotlight on. They were blocking him in from the front, so he couldn't get out. And I'm pulling up as they order him out of the truck, right? And this guy gets out, and he's a monster of a man. And this would remind me of Billy Amy because, like I told you, he's like 6'8". But the deputies, and they were younger than me, and I was getting ready to go into detectives, but they get him out, and they start talking to him, and I walk up, and I'm listening, and they were like, you know, what are you doing here? And he's like, what the fuck you want? What are you stopping me for? What's your probable cause for stopping me? I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. We got another lawyer, right? Somebody been watching too many TV shows and what have you. And so I wasn't interrupting them. I was just kind of, you know, standing to the side and in case sugar turned to shit, right? And like I said, this guy was a mountain of a man, and he had an extended cab, red Chevrolet truck. And while they're talking to him, I kind of ease around him to his backside, and he's turning it to me, and he's like, where the fuck you going? I said, bro, you don't need to worry about me. Answer their questions. And they asked him for his driver's license. He's like, fuck you, I'm not giving you my driver's license, and you bitches ain't got no reason to stop me. And I was like, you know, it's not really going well. But I took my flashlight and I shined it in the back of the truck, and it was loaded with boards, okay? And now lumber's expensive. And if you're a doper, you can go on these job sites and steal the copper or an air conditioner unit, whatever. It's not bolted down, or whatever you can get to take in the hood, you know, to trade for a couple of dollars or whatever. Then that's what they do, right? So I'm coming back up to him, and they were really, really verbally getting into it now. He was refusing any kind of orders. He refused to produce his ID. He was cursing them, etc. But I used to be the field training officer and you know, training new uniform patrol guys. And I always told them, you start out low, right? You can start out low with whoever it is. By low, y'all, I mean, you don't have to get out cursing and hollering and expecting the, to get into this shit or whatever. If they start out high, meaning like this guy he was being a dick, right? And reason he was being a dick because I'm guessing he was stealing the shit out of the neighborhood and he didn't want the popo talking to him. But so I'm listening to them, and they are, I mean, it's going downhill, and it's going downhill fast. And he's refusing to comply, won't show his driver's license, telling them, fuck you, and and they started raising their voice, going back. And I was like, you know what? Hold on. Just let me intervene. And I said, hey, man, hey, listen, I need you to calm down. And he was like, you don't tell me to calm down. I said, no. I said, just calm down. I want you to step back here and talk to me. So what I was doing at that time, y'all, was diffusing the situation. I figured this asshole's going to jail, but I really didn't want to have to fight him, right? So I said, just step over here towards the rear of your vehicle with me. Step away from them. Let's restart. Let's hit reset. And he walked back with me. I didn't turn my back on him. Now I'm kind of at a 45-degree angle as he's walking with me in case he just decided to put hands on me or run or whatever. And also I was keeping my pistol side bladed away from him so he couldn't grab my gun or anything else. And we get back to the back of the truck, and we're probably 20 feet from the other two guys by this point. And I'm like, look, hey, man, I'm Deputy Overton with the Sheriff's Office. We had a call of a suspicious person that's been pulling in and out of here in a red truck for the last, hour or so. And it's like, well, I don't know. I said, oh, no. I said, it's okay. Listen, what I'm going to do, I'm going to advise you your rights. You're not under arrest. I said, but I want you to understand your rights before I talk to you anymore. And so I advised him his rights. Y'all read them to him or told him to him. I didn't have to read him off a card or anything. Naturally, I know him, right? And I read it to him, and he kind of gets quiet. And I said, now look, I said, what are you doing back here? And he is a massive man. Okay, we're standing at the tailgate of his truck. And he's standing between the truck and me. I think he was trying to hide the boards in the back of the truck, which was too late. And I said, what are you doing back here? And he was like, I'm just driving around. I'm like, nobody lives back here, dude. This is, new construction. And why are you back here? And it was like, well, I was just riding around looking for a home to buy. And now look, his truck was an old piece of shit. And I'm thinking, this is a really nice neighborhood that's going up probably $200,000 or $300,000 homes, et cetera. And I'm like, you really gonna tell me that? I mean, you just out here riding? And he was like, yeah. And I had asked the other two deputies to stay away, right? Because I wanted to try to talk him down and get some juice out of him. And, if it came to the point of throwing fists, I didn't want it to reach that. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. But as I'm talking to him, I could see his pupils were extremely dilated, and he was sweating profusely. I'm thinking he's probably on meth. But as I'm talking to him, he puts his hands in it was cold that night too, y'all. Let me tell you that. It was cold. One of those cold nights where you could see your breath, the mist off your fog or whatever the fuck you want to call it, off your breath. And he puts his hands in his coat pocket. I think it was like one of those goose down vests. But he goes and puts his hands in his pocket, and immediately I tell him, I say, hey, I need you to take your hands out of your pocket for officer safety. And I haven't, tried to shake him down or pat him down or anything at this point. I know it's coming, right? But I also know that when I'm engaged in a verbal conversation with him, he immediately complied and took his hands out of the pocket, right? And then we continue to talk. But I know he's going to put his hands back in his pockets again because either he's holding dope or, they just forget. They put their hands back in the pocket. Well, guess what? He did it within 30 seconds, he puts his hands back in his pocket. And then I told him what I always do. And then I said, listen, I've asked you once to take your hands out of your pockets for officer safety. I said, I don't know if you got a bazooka in there or a machine gun or a rocket launcher or, I said, so what I'm going to do now is ask you to turn around and put your hands on the truck, and I'm going to pat frisk you for officer.
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
For safety. And he kind of looked at me. I said, look, just turn around, put your hands on the truck. You're not under arrest. I'm going to pat frisk you for officer safety. And I gently went to put my hands on him, and he started to turn around. He put his hands on the truck, and I put my right foot in between his legs, and I kick his feet out just a little bit, gently now, y'all, in a non-aggressive manner. Yeah, that's way, when you do that, you have them a little bit off balance, right? Plus, you're going to shake down the inside of their legs. So what I put my left hand up on his back, and then towards the back of his neck, and I have to reach up for that, and I start to pat frisk him down. I started on his arms, his right arm, pull down, and I reach over to his left arm, pull down, and I go down the front of his chest. And remember now, he's leaning forward, his arms on the thing, and I go down his chest, and I hit his pocket. And when I did, I could feel what I believe through my experience to be a pipe, a glass stick was a street term for it. And as soon as I hit that, and I said, and I got my left arm up on his back, so I still got somewhat control on him. But remember, he's much bigger than me. And look, I wasn't a small guy. Yeah, I'm 6'2", but back then I was like 250. Okay, I mean, it was many years. I was in my 30s, early 30s. But when I hit that pipe, and I grabbed it through the jacket, and I said, "What's this?" And he didn't answer me. I said, "Do you have anything in your pocket that's going to stick me?" I said, I'm going to reach in your pocket and find out what it is. I said, "Do you have anything in your pocket that's going to stick me?" And the reason we do that, y'all, is because a lot of times when you search these people, they have needles on them, right? Now, I wore gloves that had Kevlar, the bulletproof material on the front side, for that reason, and especially when I'm shaking people down. And it was cold that night also. And he didn't answer me. And I said, "Do you have anything that's going to stick me?" And he didn't answer me. I said, "Listen, I'm going to reach into the pocket now, and I'm going to take out what's in there." I said, "Unless you want to tell me ahead of time what it is." He didn't answer me. Soon as I'm reaching in, I start to reach in with my right hand around his front into that goose down vest. As soon as I put my hand in the pocket, bitch, it was on. Okay. Now there's 2 times you really have to be cautious. The first is if you're going to pat for somebody and they're holding something, that's why you always want them a little bit off balance, leaning forward a little bit, hands out, et cetera, so you have somewhat control in case they decide to run or fight. And because that's what's going to happen when you actually go to reach in and get whatever it is that's illegal. If they're going to fight or flight, that's when it's going to happen. The second time is when you go to cuff someone. Now, 9 times out of 10, if you tell someone to turn around, put the hands behind their back, and that's when you go to cuff them up, absolute guarantee you better damn well hold on to those cuffs as tight as you can in the middle. Hold mine in the middle and get them to turn around. You hit one wrist, click, click. That's when they're going to fight. And now there's nothing more dangerous than a cuff. But you get one on, and if they break your hold on it, then now they got a weapon on their wrist, which they can swing if they're going to fight, right? I didn't even get to the point of cuffing this guy. I start to put my hand in the pocket, my left arm still up on his back. He turned around and even though he was off balance, he spun around as hard as he could with his left elbow, and he caught me in the face. Now I was able to duck my head down a little bit. It's like slow motion, y'all. It seems like it takes 1,400 years, but it happens in a split second. And I just knew right when he started to spin, I knew it was coming. So I ducked my head to his back, but he still hit me. And he spun all the way around, and he hit me with his left elbow. That knocks me a little bit sideways. And then I'm coming back up and get back up. He wasn't running, okay? He wanted to fight. And I'm coming back up, and that bitch started raining down blows on me. I'm talking about like hit me in my head and as hard as he could. He was a big dude, and it hurt. But I ducked down, and when he started swinging on me, I swung up with the hardest uppercut that I could and hit him as hard as I could underneath his jaw. Hit him underneath his jaw as hard as I could. Didn't phase this bitch. And then he starts raining down blows on me, and it's on. It's a 14108 resisting officer, right? And he's fighting me. We're trading punches, but I stayed in as close as I could to him because he's such a big guy that, he's trying to hammer fist down on me, but I'm staying in close as I can. I'm punching up, and the other deputies didn't even see it. They were standing up at the front of the fucking truck, talking to each other, facing each other. And I'm like, 108, 108. And then we're trading punches, boom, 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 boom. And then the guy put me in a damn headlock. And when he did, all I could do is grab his lower left leg and pull it out from underneath him. So then we go to the ground. And at some point, the other two deputies come up. Now, here's the deal. I don't care what you see on cop shows or whatever. It is hard as fuck to handcuff somebody if they are resisting. Now, this guy, I was nowhere near to getting him cuffed, but the other two deputies come up at some point. It seemed like I'd been down there fighting. We're rolling on the ground. He's got me in a headlock, and I mean, I hit him in the nuts. I hit him everywhere that I could. Basically getting my ass kicked, but not that bad. But I'm hitting him with everything that I have in close quarter combat. And at some point, the other deputies, I feel them jump in. Now they're trying to get him off of me, and he's trying to choke me out and kill me in the headlock. And they were able to break the arm hold. Well, guess what? There's 4 of us on the ground now, right? Fighting. 3 of us on this one guy. And I swear to God, we fought somebody was able to say 108 on one of the other deputies, which on the radio, which means send back up. And then immediately when the radio room, the dispatchers hear that, they 1033 the net, which means I hold the net except for emergency traffic. Cops need assistance, right? They're in a fight. And y'all, we fought. And it's just one of those things where you're raining down blows. At some point, it wasn't me. One of the other deputies was able to get their freeze plus P out and spray him. Well, the problem with that is when you spray him and you're rolling around the ground, everybody gets sprayed, right? So I told you about freeze plus P before. When you first get sprayed with it, you're like, oh, it's not that bad for about a minute and a half, and then it automatically causes your eyes to swell shut, and it gives you that I'm dying breath, like you're drowning, right, if you will. And so now, now I'd fought in it so many times, et cetera. I knew how to try to control my breathing and not freak out. But I'm sprayed with freeze plus P. Was being choked out, and the adrenaline's pumping, and we're fighting. But guess what? We couldn't get him under control. I mean, this was one big, strong monster of a man. In all that shit they teach in the academy about straight arm bar takedowns and soft empty hand control and palm heel strikes and all that bullshit, it goes out the window, y'all. When you're in a fist fight, it's a fist fight. You punch me, I'm going to punch you back. And I know you've heard me tell you this before, but it's just the way that it is, right? And so I could hear sirens coming in the distance. And I'm talking about blows are being rained in every direction. And I think at one point he kicked one of the deputies in the shin, and who was like leaning over towards his head part. I think it was the same one that sprayed, kicked him in the shin. He went down. He's out. He's down on the ground holding his leg. But I could hear the sirens coming. The cavalry's coming to save the day. But this fight might have been 4 minutes, maybe. And now we've got spray, serious blows being thrown, elbows, knees, fist punches in the face and everywhere else, and nothing. I mean, this guy's getting the best of all of us. But the long story short, the other sirens are coming in, and they get there. And I guess it looked like the Rodney King thing from back in the day. In the end, by the time everybody got there, this dude was still fighting, even though he had been sprayed and he couldn't see. He's blindly fighting, but he was so cock strong that, I don't know how many it took, probably like 6 deputies on him before we were able to pin him down, and somebody was able to get a hand behind his back and get that cuff on him, and they were able to force around and get the other cuff on him. And monster of a man. The whole thing, probably the whole fight and getting him cuffed, etc., probably took, I don't know, 6 minutes from beginning to end, maybe 8 minutes, but it seemed like 18 freaking years, right? So finally get him down, or they get the cuffs on him, and he's face down. Somebody went and got some shackles, and because he was still trying to kick, and so sitting on, not the George Floyd sitting on him, we weren't sitting on his neck or whatever. I wasn't sitting on dick. I couldn't barely see because of the freeze plus P, and my adrenaline's ripping so hard. And somebody went and got some shackles and shackled his feet, and we hog-tied him, right? And used another pair, or they hog-tied him, used another pair of handcuffs to bring his legs back up once they got the shackles on him, up towards his back, and then extended his arms down with the cuffs down, and took another pair of cuffs and ran him from the cuffs to the shackles. So now he's hog-tied. This dude can't move. And look, by the way, he's like 300 some pounds, all right, but not fat, just a big monster of a man. Great. Call it in, 259, 1015, one white male, 1064 the net, which means you can let traffic go. Well, y'all, what happens in a situation like that when your adrenaline's pumping so hard, and you're going and you go for however long, well, you don't realize, most of the time, you don't realize any injuries that you have until after your adrenaline starts to calm down. And then I was sitting back on the ground, and I just realized my hand is just fucking killing me. My right hand, I was like, holy shit, man. And I mean, I'm talking about bad pain. I knew I had messed something up, right? And then I reached up with my left hand, and my mouth was bleeding. I guess it was an elbow or one of his punches or whatever. He busted my tooth had gone into my lip on my right-hand side of my face. So I'm bleeding, but I looked down at my hand, and my finger, my ring finger on my right hand was bent like in a not natural position. I mean, it's just fucking bad. Like bent backwards at a 45-degree angle. And I'm like, holy shit. Then I started shaking and stuff. I mean, I knew I was hurt. I knew my hand was hurt pretty bad. And now, look, I've had broken bones and all kinds of shit, right? I had fractured skull before and all this stuff. But this was, I'm sitting on the ground and I'm looking and I'm bleeding. And I'm looking at my finger, and I started shaking and I almost got nauseous, I guess, from the freeze plus P and the adrenaline and everything else. But one of the guys came up and was like, hey, are you all right? And I'm like, no, man, my hand is fucked. And the supervisor arrived by that time, and it was Mike Irwin. I think he flies the helicopters now for the sheriff's office. And he was a great supervisor, great guy, and didn't take any shit, and always took care of his people. And he said, Woody, let me look at you. And he looked at my face and he said, man, you might need some stitches in your mouth. But I said, that's not the problem, bro. I said, look at my hand. And I held it up. My hand was shaking. And he was like, oh, fuck, we got to get you to the hospital, right? He said, your shit is definitely broken. And so they had called Acadian. Some of the other guy. Oh, for the one that got kicked in the leg too. He couldn't even walk. And so they called for Acadian. And I told Mike, I said, I'm not riding that fucking ambulance. I said, you're going to have to go to the hospital regardless. I said,
hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes, plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
Let me just ride with you. And he was like, that's fine. You can ride with me. And so he got the other guy loaded up for his leg. And we went to, the hospital was the closest one at that time was right across the bridge in East Baton Rouge Parish. Shit, I forget the name of it, Oshner's or something, but it's changed now, I think. So we go to that emergency room and get out, and they bring the other deputy in for his leg, and they have to go take him for an X-ray, and then the doctor came and looked at me and looked at my mouth, and they put some gauze on it, etc. But I showed my hand. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "You definitely, if it's not broken, then it's definitely dislocated. Let's go in and get you an X-ray." So the X-ray tech came. Mike had called the sheriff and everything, and the X-ray tech came and they put me in. I remember them putting, when you go in the X-ray room, they would put your hand on that plate to do the thing. I remember my hand just shaking. I mean, it wasn't even adrenaline at this point. I think it was from the pain. I'm gonna tell you something, it fucking hurt, and I've had a lot of broken shit, and it hurt bad. But they took the X-ray of it, and then they wheeled me to a room, and the doctor came in, and Mike came in with him, and the doc said, "Hey, look, your shit is not broken." He said, "but it's definitely dislocated." He said, "The problem is we've got to put it back into place." He said, "And do you want us to put you to sleep to do it?" And I'm like, "Fuck, no, I don't want to go under for anything." I said, "Just do what you got to do." He said, no. He said, "There's no way." He said, "There's no way we're going to do it without something." He said, "Let me give you a pill that will make you where at least you won't remember it." And I was like, "All right, whatever. Just fix it because this shit hurts." So I remember Mike being there in the room with me. And they gave him the pill, and it took like 20 minutes, or it was a loopy pill. I don't know what it was, y'all, but Mike was there with me, and I remember him doing it, but I don't remember the pain of it. I remember him popping or bending my finger back into place and, screaming out, etc. But they fixed it and taped it up and what have you. But evidently they gave me, whatever pill was a loopy pill. I don't remember what all I said, but Mike actually drove me home. Somebody else had got my unit from the scene. Mike drove me home, and the stuff was, making me sleepy and all that. But he picked on me for a long time afterwards. He said, "Bro, you had no idea the crazy, funny shit you were saying when you were all fucked up from that pill." But anyway, the other deputy was all right. I think his shin was bruised really bad. So bad guy goes to jail. We charged him with the injury of an officers. Turned out the material. I think it was the next day. The detectives had the contractor came in, and a bunch of those houses had been robbed of stuff, and they were able to identify the boards as coming from the site. And when they searched the guy after he was down, he had meth on him in the meth pipe. So he went to jail on a bunch of felony charges. Then they added more charges. The probable cause, whether they stuck or not, for him burglarizing the construction sites. And I remember going to the probable cause hearing and having to testify the free shot, right, that he gets to get out having to testify about the fight. And I remember the public defender, when he was questioning me about it, he was like, well, you punched my client in the face. And I said, I hope I did, and he said, what do you mean? I said, hell, he was, trying to kill me. And he said, well, you had to go to the hospital. Your hand was hurt. I said, that's right. He said, so you punched my client. I said, yeah, I punched him as hard as I could and probably as many times as I could, motherfucker. I didn't say motherfucker in the courtroom. I said, and I would do it again. He said, well, don't you think that you shouldn't have been so aggressive with my client? I said, hey, he turned and spun on me. He hit me with his elbow. He started raining down blows upon me. Did I punch him? Yeah, I punched him. I punched him as hard as I could, and it didn't do anything. I said, and I would do it again today. Anyway, long story short, he ended up taking a plea, and he had to pay restitution. He had to pay the medical bills, restitutions for the deputies involved, and he got some time. I think the judge gave him like 2 years of the plea. They pled him down to like 2 years. I mean, proving that he actually stole the stuff from the construction site, even though he had boards in the back of the truck. I mean, you can't prove that shit beyond a reasonable doubt, but you can definitely prove by my injuries and my busted face. Yeah, I forgot they take pictures of that. The detective came out to the hospital when I was all looped up on the pills or whatever it was they gave me, and took pictures of my facial injuries and my hand and all that. And of course, we had the doctor's report, et cetera. So we would have slammed him on that, no doubt. And the resisting, the injuring an officer. Actually, it was second degree battery, because anytime you get into an altercation, if somebody hits somebody and it causes such pain that I think the law reads extreme physical pain, that if you're on the receiving end of it and you have extreme physical pain, you lose consciousness or get disfigurement, or you have to seek medical attention, it makes it a second degree battery. Well, y'all, that's the same thing as attempted murder in the state of Louisiana. Now, again, battery in the rest of the United States is the battery and assault are different than they are in Louisiana. It's swapped. In Louisiana, a battery is the unwanted touching. In the rest of the United States, a battery is the threat, okay? In Louisiana, an assault is actually the verbal threat. Or if you pick up a gun and you point at somebody and you don't shoot them, that's an aggravated assault because you're using a firearm. But there's different levels of it, but it's swapped everywhere else. If you're in Texas or California, you hear me say second degree battery, it's not a threat, okay? It was second degree battery, which is the same thing. There was no attempted murder charge on the book. So he had serious shit. I think he took 2 years, and they let him out on one. No, it must have been longer than 2 years. Whatever it was, after 2 years, I got a call from the parole officer, and it said, "Hey, do you mind if this guy gets out? He's gone through drug rehab programs in the prison and blah blah blah." And he had several arrests before, but none of crime of violence. He was just a dopehead thief. And I told him, no, I don't mind if he gets out. It's the same thing like when my vehicle got broken into in my neighborhood when I was a detective, and I found the guy that did it. And they called me out of respect and said, "Hey, do you mind if he gets parole?" He'd been in like 5 or 6 years. I'm like, "Nope." But tell him if he ever comes around me, he's going to spring a leak, right? Because I'm going to kill him. And I told him the same thing. I said, I hope he's straight. I hope he goes on and lives a great and productive life. But if he ever fucking comes near me again, I'm not going to fight him. I'm not going to hurt my hand, and I'm not going to get my mouth busted open. I'm going to put a bullet in him. So anyway, I was thinking about that, y'all, and I know it's a little bit of a different story, but it popped in my mind when I saw Billy the other night. He was dressed up like Rip from Yellowstone, and I thought of him. First thing I thought of him, because he's like 6'8" and just a massive hunk of a man. And the first thing I thought of was that big son of a bitch we had to fight on. And actually, that's the only time. I think that's the only time in my career that I ever had to go to the emergency room for my injuries, right? So, but anyway, it healed up. It was no big deal. After that, I was sore for a little while and what have you, but and my face was, a little fucked up. But it is what it is. So anyway, I love and appreciate y'all. I know this was a little bit different. I was sitting down this morning recording a commercial, and I said, you know what? Let me tell this story while I'm thinking of it. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you for being Patreon members and convicts. And hey, Patreon members, convicts are basically Patreons in the Real Life, Real Crime Community app, which is free to download. But if you're already a Patreon member and you want to swap over, it's really, really easy. There's instructions on how to do it. But if you can't figure out how to do it, then message Cindy Overton or Cindy, CYNDI, at realliferealcrime.com, and she'll get you taken care of. Or you can message her on Facebook or whatever. But the app is where it's at, y'all. It's like the crew page on steroids. It has all these different forums and group chats and true crime stuff that gets posted every day, this day in history, all this crazy stuff. You get points or stars or whatever they're called for discounts on merch and stuff like that. But if you also, the convicts, the Patreon members basically that are have swapped over to the app, they get all the benefits that you get from being a regular Patreon member, but everything's in one place. So if you want to swap over, great, and that'd be awesome. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But the convicts, I hope you're enjoying the app. And there will be some video stuff on there and then some more stuff on there that may not be on the Patreon, Facebook only page, etc. I'm trying to get away from the Facebook part because we get censored every day, and nobody's censoring the Real Life, Real Crime Community app except for Woody Overton. And y'all know you have to be a real asshole for me to say something to you, right? Or just, a troll that gets in there and wants to start shit with good people. I don't put up with that, but check it out. I appreciate y'all. Love you so much. And this show would not run without y'all. And we will be doing more stuff. The holiday season's coming up. I'm gonna do some videos. Y'all had done the bull and peanut video. I boiled peanuts for 3 fucking days because it takes that long, right? 3 different big batches worth. I had all the new camera, the video set up, and had recorded it all. Well, I came to record in the studio, and I put that chip in because it still had more hours on it, right, to record on. And I put that chip in, and it said, do you want to calibrate this chip or something like that? And I hit the wrong button, evidently, and I erased it all. But I'm going to fry my turkeys. We're going to do that live, and I'm going to do it for Patreon and convicts. And so where you can, I'm going to drink beer. I'm going to fry the turkeys. I'm going to get out the Jackie syringe and show you how to inject the turkey and get it all prepped and everything else. And we have all this new high dollar equipment and stuff, which we wouldn't have if it wasn't for y'all's support. So I'm going to try to do more. Okay. And stay tuned because we got a lot more stuff coming for y'all, not just episodes, but a lot more stuff that we're actively planning to set up for convicts and Patreon. But again, I love y'all. I appreciate you. If wouldn't have a show, if it wasn't for y'all, of course, we've grown phenomenally, but we wouldn't have been able to start concentrating on doing things like building the app and the live shows and all this different stuff if it wasn't for your contribution. And I'll never, ever be able to tell you how much I appreciate it. And hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it was different, pretty much just me rambling, but I love y'all. I appreciate you. Y'all don't forget about the Crew Bash, the VIP. I think they're almost sold out, but that's going to be an all-night deal on Friday night, February 4th in downtown Baton Rouge. The Crew Bash itself is on my birthday, February 5th. And we got people coming in from all over the United States. I know a lot of y'all patrons and convicts that are coming. So, but anyway, if you hadn't got your tickets, I think you get discounts for whatever. I don't know all the stuff on the Patreon and convict benefits. But if you haven't got your tickets, get them, because especially if you want to go to the VIP event, because there's a handful of those left. But anyway, that's it. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay in conjunction with iHeartRadio and Cloud 10 Media.
This is the Patreon Mix.